Good day, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Epic Entrepreneurs powered by Action Coach. I'm your host today, Andy O'Brien, and I am here with Abhay Schweitzer.
Sometimes it was difficult for me to be in the present and deal with the current challenges. So what I would tell myself is to always set up my day, my year, my structure, so I could have some focus on both.
Welcome to the show. Let's talk about the top 3 things that have made you successful in business, and how can others follow in your footsteps?
There are more than 3 things, but I'll try to narrow it down to 3 that I think have made the biggest impact. I really have to say that coaching is one of them because it covers so many aspects, and it generally speaking, reduced the amount of mistakes we were going to make and optimized our time. After that, I really worked to implement within our company systems that could increase our efficiency and give everybody the best chance of spending the most time in things they are really good at and really qualified for. And then third, I think, has been our focus on particular niches of the market where we can bring the strongest parts of what we do. So we're always adding more value and finding projects that are the best match for our skill set as a company.
So you don't say yes to everything?
No, I think saying yes to everything is kind of a trap because there are certain projects that just aren't a good match, and being able to recognize what's a best fit for your team and your company really will increase the chances of you being successful.
Was that a lesson you had to learn in business, learning to say no, or was that something that came natural to you?
It absolutely didn't come natural. I don't come from a background of a family of business owners or even a family of people who were financially successful. So when I got started, I didn't know how to play this game, right? I would take any project, and thankfully I built up some efficiencies myself where I could do things quickly where that worked, but that only worked as me as a single person running the company. That doesn't work in a scalable format. So the moment that I realized that I didn't want to be the one doing all the work, and I didn't want to be the one working 60, 70 hours a week like I used to, that meant that we had to scale as a team. And that team has a particular skill set and projects that we do better and worse at. But no, it wasn't easy at all. It was really hard to look at projects and say, oh, we could do it, but maybe our margins are going to be really tight, and say no to it and say, no, we just really we can't bring our best to this project. Once I changed that mentality, Andy, it helped make it a little bit easier for me. Instead of saying I'm recusing money, I look at it as really, we can't bring our best, so it's just not fair to the client or us that we do that project.
When you look back, and let's just go back to the beginning, what made you decide to start your own firm?
I graduated in 2006, and then shortly after that, I moved to California. I used to live in Michigan. That's where I studied. But I knew right from the beginning that I wanted to have my own firm. But this wasn't a strong desire in the beginning, to be honest, right? As I worked for other firms in kind of a traditional employee role in architecture firms, I quickly realized that there wasn't much space for me to give my best for a variety of reasons that often exist in companies. The position is not right for it, or there isn't room for growth. And I felt a little bit stuck. And that got me to really realizing I want to have my own firm. I want to have control. I don't mind taking the risk and the responsibility that comes with that. And I was really excited, but I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And that led me to working a bunch of hours and figuring things out. And then it got to a point where I said, I don't want to do this. I don't want to keep working 6 days a week, which is what I was working. 6 days a week is one day too many for me. And I knew I wanted something different. It happened that my wife went to one of Kerry Kaufman's kind of seminars for new clients. And she said, I'm not ready, but you should talk to my husband, right? So I met with Kerry, and she was taking me through the process. I said, Kerry, just skip to the end. You don't need to go through all the steps. Like I'm ready. Like this fruit is ready to be picked, right? I know what I don't like about what's going on. Let's just get to work right now. So that's a short version of how I started in business, and then how I eventually got to a point where I wasn't happy with, yet I didn't know how to make the change to get to where I wanted to be. And I thought coaching would be an invaluable tool to get me there, and it has been.
Looking back at all the things that you have accomplished, what would you say has been your biggest challenge and how did you overcome that for our listeners out here?
I think for me, the biggest challenge was when we added development to the scope of work that we do. We're first and foremost a traditional architecture firm. We do a variety of projects, right? And I got quite good at that, and we're really good at that. We're good at what we do. We have clients that are very loyal and excellent clients. But just similar to when I was an employee and I knew I wanted something different, I also realized that I didn't want to just do architecture in that scope. I wanted to control the projects. I wanted to invest in my own projects. I wanted to build my own projects. But that was a whole new skill set that I didn't have at all. And many times, I wanted to quit. It looked like an insurmountable hill to climb, right? When I first looked at it, because I didn't have any perspective of what it looked like halfway up the hill or all the way up the hill. And it took a lot of work from Carrie and myself as well to just do it. But like most things, it seems much more difficult before you actually do it, right? And then once you do it, you realize, wow, it's not as daunting as I thought. But looking back, before I had started, we're finishing a big project now, 14 homes. Before I had started this project, it looked like an insurmountable task to me. I was excited and I was confident I would do it, but I really had no idea how the hell I was going to get there. But I did. And now looking back, it doesn't seem. So the advice I would have for other business owners and entrepreneurs that are struggling with this is, you can only see what you see now, but know that, at least in my experience, in 100% of the cases, when you get done with whatever that challenging next step is, you'll look back and say it was not as difficult as I thought it would be.
What would be the best advice you would go back and give your 25-year-old self?
Sometimes it was difficult for me to be in the present and deal with the current challenges and think about what the business would look like 2-3 years from now. So what I would tell myself is to always set up my day, my year, my structure, so I could have some focus on both. Because this gives more clarity on how you make business decisions when you have tough decisions to make, and we all do as business owners. You can look at that and make clear decisions with the present and the future in mind. And I think if I would have known that, or have the clarity that I have today when I was 25 years old, it would have been a lot easier. So that's what I would have told myself.
And that's a wrap for today's epic conversation here on Epic Entrepreneurs. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that subscribe button, leave a review, share it, or hit that bell. But until next time, let's make sure you keep dreaming, take massive action, and stay epic.